Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, tmosso@the1916company.com. It is in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any of our watches. Reach out to tmosso@the1916company.com for pricing details. So in 2019, Audemars Piguet launched the Code 11.59 collection, replacing the Jules Audemars dress watches. The Code 11.59 was, at least initially, uneven. But the model that everyone loved was the Perpetual Calendar with its to-die-for Aventurine glass dial. That initial Code 11.59 Perpetual was in rose gold, and in 2022, AP gave the people what they wanted, a white gold option, and that's what we have right here. So the Code 11.59 Perpetual Calendar in white gold is 41 millimeters in diameter. As I measure it, 11.1 millimeters thick, from lug tip to lug tip, 50 millimeters, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Let's throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. And you can see one of the characteristics of the codes has always been that it is a big dress watch, particularly the lug-to-lug span. So on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, I feel like we're approaching the limit here. I think you could wear it on a 15 centimeter wrist, but probably no smaller than that. Here's your over-the-top shot, which always exaggerates the width of the watch a bit. Your cuff shot, don't be deceived, although it does have a rather cylindrical and sheer side. At only 11.1 millimeters thick, it will slide underneath the dress cuff. Down the barrel one more time. Now we'll take a look at the strap. So we have a combination of rubberized textile, and then on the bottom, you can see we've got calf skin. Taking a look here, it's a lovely neutral gray. It's got a little bit of bolstering to give it some volume, and you could see that the watch includes a retention system based on screws and bars. So that strap is really tight to the case. No spring bars here, and I like to see that. Spring bars always create potential for a disaster or a mistake. Screws and bars, much more reliable. We also have a double deployant clasp, which is a wonderful feature to have. You can see, made of white gold. What's fascinating here is that Audemars Piguet's clasps appear to be a gray gold sort of alloy that does not have any rhodium plating, whereas their watch case white gold is absolutely rhodium plated, and you can see the difference in tone between these two golds. It's a little bit quirky, and the reason for that probably is that this watch was originally designed for a pin buckle, and the folding clasp appears to have been added as an option at the AP boutique, and that's good because I'll always prefer a clasp over a pin buckle, and you can see it's built as solidly as the watch. So there are two triggers outside. They're flush to the buckle, and you could easily miss them, but there they are right there. There's a trigger on each side, so you have to press both of them to open this clasp, so you have a lot of security against accidentally dropping your watch. Now, taking a quick look at the case itself, we have a combination of polish and satin, but I want to draw your attention real quick to these screws and bars. By the way, also note that these screws use a white gold that is not rhodium plated. You can see it's a much warmer tone than the lugs themselves. But those bolts, or screws, they're probably screws, they feature a hexagonal pattern designed to remind you of what are definitely bolts on the bezel of the Royal Oak. If you look carefully, you can also see that the center case of the watch is a rounded off octagon, another nod to the Royal Oak. The lugs are a bit of a surprise. If you've only ever seen the 11.59 online in this kind of soldier shot, you might miss just how beautiful the lugs are. They're like the buttresses of a Gothic cathedral, flying buttresses, arcing, open, airy, evacuated. You can see that they're internally micro-beveled, which is a wonderful feat of attention to detail, and then they're actually welted onto the bezel. That's how they're attached to the case. If you look really closely at the case back, you could see that there's actually a little bit of a gap between the case back and the lug itself. The lug's attached to the bezel. Now we have a little bit of a recess of the mid case. You can see the pusher adjusters for the calendar, and you could see that there's a combination of polish and satin, but that the polished bezel is very minimal. The crown featuring satin and polish for contrast. The bezel almost disappears, and when you look at it from the front, it's really just like a silver halo. The watch is effectively all dial. Now, there's a fascinating camber and curvature to this crystal. You can see it almost has sort of a dihedral dip when you look at it from end on, and that might just be an optical illusion, but the curvature of this crystal is calculated to create those kind of optical distortions. It's a small, easily overlooked refinement in a watch that's simply full of those. There's a flange outboard, which appears to be black lacquer, and that, or very dark navy blue lacquer, and that features a 52-week scale. You can see there's a little white varnished hand that indicates the week of the year, and then we have white gold applied indices and white gold hands for the other calendar indications, the idea being that white gold will never tarnish, oxidize, or fade. The dial base is Aventurine glass, which is a type of very dark translucent blue enamel that traces its origins to Italy. And so this sort of artisanal enamel adds metallic elements, and those metallic elements create the impression that you're looking at a bottomless, endless cosmos up in the sky surrounding a moon phase disk, which is also Aventurine glass, and then there is a little photorealistic moon phase. Now, this is a perpetual calendar, so you don't need to make any changes until the year 2100, and the moon phase has an adjustment interval of once every 122 years. We have a coaxial indicator for leap years and months up at the top, and on the back, the real deal, the JLC-based caliber 5134. It's the same base movement that was traditionally found in the Jumbo as the 2121, but this one drives a perpetual calendar module with a weekly calendar. So unidirectional automatic winding with a 40-hour power reserve, 38 joules. It's got a free-sprung Gyromax style balance for shock resistance and precise adjustment, and it beats away at the quirky rate of 19,800 vibrations per hour, because when this movement was designed in 1967 by Jaeger-LeCoultre, this was the cutting edge in ultra-thin watchmaking. It was at the time one of the thinnest automatic movements in the world, doing battle with the Piaget 12P of the time. The movement was designed for the Holy Trinity, AP, Patek, and Vacheron. It was only ever used by them, never by JLC or its other clients. Audemars Piguet in the modern era builds this movement in-house and finishes it in-house. So you can see there's quite a lot of flair here. We've got a rotor that's internally skeletonized with many sharp interior angles where bevels meet and creases. That is the finishing highlight of the whole movement, though the rest is no slouch. You can see the edge of the rotor has been polished, and then there's satination across the top with beveling on the outer edges and polish on the AP logo. The bevels of this movement are outstanding. And if you look at this movement compared to other AP calibers, you're going to find that almost all of them, regardless of price, feature machined bevels. These are finished by hand. You can see they're rounded and mirrored. There's no milling marks visible. We have little locating pegs to help locate the bridges on the base plate below. Those locating pegs are polished on their tops. We have stripes laid down across the bridges with abrasive wheel. You can see we have engine turning on the base plate. All screw heads are polished on their tops, chamfered on their slots and circumference. We have solarization of the crown wheel core as well as the ratchet wheel. The click is polished, and the teeth of these two wheels, the teeth of the crown wheel and the teeth of the ratchet wheel, those have been polished. There's a beryllium ring that wraps all the way around the movement. There were a couple of tricks played to make this movement thinner. Unidirectional winding was one. The 19,800 vibration per hour beat rate permitted an acceptable power reserve while having a thinner, smaller mainspring and barrel. And then there's this beryllium ring. So there's a ruby roller bearing at each corner of the movement. You can't see it, but it's there. And the ring literally rolls on those rollers. So the ring supports the mass, and the ruby roller bearings support the ring. So under conditions of shock, the ring and the rotor can be very close to the base plate and bridges respectively, but never come in contact with them. And that's the key there. And that's how it can be really thin. You can also see that the attention to detail is great with beveling inside all of the jewel and screw sinks. Then all of this water-resistant 220 meters, so splashes only. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.